if I can't be with this person, why am I attracted to them? So being in a small town, it limited who I was. But once I got out, I realized there's no limit to the potential of what I can do, who I can be with, who I can like in this world. So it has some good things about it, but a small town also is something that you got to get away from so that you can educate yourself about the rest of the world.
Welcome to another episode of the Eternal Optimist podcast. I'm your host, Matt Brinkon, and today we have a special treat. We have someone that I've been having a very interesting conversation for the last few minutes with Mr. Justin McClure, and I'm going to read Justin's bio. And for those of you out there listening, just grab your steering wheel and just go park somewhere because your jaw might drop. You might be like overwhelmingly impressed by all of his accolades, and that's going to be followed by the impression that he's going to make on you because he's an impressive human, not just the words on paper and all the people and the billions of views he's had on YouTube, and being a top creator and a 4-time TED Talk speaker. It's not all of that. I mean, just as a human so far, I'm looking forward to this. Let me just read some of these things to you about Justin. His family, the Mighty McClures and McClure kids. Oh my God, I love it. Mighty McClures has amassed over 4 billion YouTube and Facebook views. With over 10 million followers across social platforms, the McClure family has been one of the most entertaining families since 2017, when a viral video put them on Good Morning America and the Today Show. Before social media fame, Justin's a professional comedian. He performed with the biggest comedians in the world, did 3 USO tours for the troops. Awesome. Was featured on NBC's Last Comic Standing and made several television appearances. So there's more. God, there's so much more I could read. I'm just going to stop though, because you've got a sample of Justin. There's just so much amazing stuff here. So I would like to welcome our guest to the show, Mr. Justin McClure. Justin, welcome, sir.
Thank you.
How are you today?
Good. And thanks for not reading the rest of it. I didn't, I'm not big on biographies because it's like, here I am, all the great things I've done. And really, I'm just a person sitting here today. You have my attention and like, we're no better than what we are right now today. And so I'm glad to be here. But I am very thankful for some of the great things in my past that have led me to where I am now. Most importantly, my family, we're called the Mighty McClures. So I'm a lot of different things, but I would definitely say I'm always a dad first. And, I'm very, we homeschool our kids now. So I'm a dad first and foremost, and I'm a business guy, but I'm also sober. So there's a lot of things to unwrap there.
Heck yeah, we're going to unwrap all those things, dad and business and sober. Before we do that, though, there's one thing I'm really curious about. You were born and raised in rural Georgia, as was I. I'm curious where in rural Georgia you come from originally.
Well, let me tell you a quick story. I was born in Rabun County. Okay. A quick story, Rabun County, North Georgia. There was a movie in the 70s called Deliverance. It was a movie with Burt Reynolds, and it was very iconic. People have heard of Deliverance. Well, when they were filming the movie, they were looking for real people to play certain parts in the movie, like real hillbillies. They lived off the land. Yep. They found 2 of the people to be in the movie, and they were my family. I had a named Gizzard in the movie, and I had a couple other people in Deliverance. So that's where I'm from in North Georgia. Where are you from, Matt?
Wow. Well, we're from way south of that. We're in middle Georgia. We are in a little town called Sandersville and Milledgeville, Georgia, which is a little small place down there. So that's where I go and visit my mom whenever I'm down there, Warner Robins, Milledgeville. In fact, I just took mom to her 60. Actually, I can't say this out loud, but let's just say I took her to a high school reunion. And it was, hello over there, somebody. I just saw a head pop over. I took my mom to the high school reunion, and it was the most amazing thing to see all these people. There were 74 that graduated. There were 16 that were there present at the reunion, and just to see where they came from in that rural middle of Georgia county, just poor as can be, but full of love. They didn't have cash resources, but they had heart resources, and that's the big thing I took out of my childhood growing up was just being full of love in our family. So anyways, Georgia aside, let's get back to the story here.
Let me touch on that. I mean, I lived in LA for 10 years. I lived in San Francisco. I lived in New York for 10 years. But now that I'm older, I really love where I came from because everybody in, my hometown, we had like one red light, but that's where I learned how to be a human being and be polite and show respect. So even though for a while, I think I was ashamed of being from such a hillbilly land. Now that I'm older, it's something I really, really appreciate, and I'm proud of it.
Absolutely. 100%. And some of those, call them family values, call them maybe chivalry, or just call them being kind to people. I didn't see that when I was living in New York City. I didn't see that when I was running my big business in Boston. I spent in the smaller communities. So I guess there is something about that I'm
Well,
really
it's also
grateful
good. It's
for
also
too.
good, considering my story. My wife is Nigerian. I grew up in a county with like one black person in the whole county. I didn't know you could marry outside of your race. I didn't know that you could like Jews. When I grew up, I was like, I don't like Jews or black people, no, or whatever. Why? Because you're limited with your ignorance from where you're from. But once I moved away and I moved to Boston, I lived in Boston for 5 years. And I was like, why would I not like Jews? They're very funny. And then I went to London for a while, and I was attracted to somebody who was not of my race. And I was like, if I can't be with this person, why am I attracted to them? So being in a small town, it limited who I was. But once I got out, I realized there's no limit to the potential of what I can do, who I can be with, who I can like in this world. So it has some good things about it. But a small town also is something that you got to get away from so that you can educate yourself about the rest of the world.
Where this is taking me to the dichotomy of things. Everything, there is a side, a positive sunny side, and there's also a shadow side. So I like to appreciate that positive things about growing up in that environment, and also some of the shadow side of that, because I was also seeing some of the same things you just shared. So I'm with you. And Justin, I'd love to just dive right in. Just give us a few bullet points here. Who is Justin McClure?
Well, Justin McClure today is very different than Justin McClure. I'm 12 years sober. So today, I'm somebody who runs several businesses. I'm a dad first. We have a big social media following, so we create content as a family. So who I am today is somebody, I try to find time for myself as well. I try to stay healthy. I want to live to be 100. So really, health is a big deal in our family, and with me trying to live, striving for longevity. And I'm not talking about health as in food. I'm talking about health as in the way you're living your life with no stress, communicating with your family, living in a way that you are not always thinking about things that make you anxious and whatnot. So who I am is like, I'm a business person. I'm a content creator. I'm a sober man, which means that I don't do drugs or alcohol, but also live a sober life, meaning I also remove obstacles in my life that keep me from being my best self. And I just had 12 years sober 2 days ago, so I'm super, super proud of that. And as I tell people, 12 years ago, I didn't go into sobriety on a winning streak. So 12 years ago, it was more about me trying to become the person that I thought that I could, but I had to remove these obstacles, and that was a difficult journey. Trying to get sober after years of kind of abusing myself with alcohol, drugs. I was a womanizer, all these different things, until one day I looked in the mirror and I said, you know what? The problem is you, and you got to change who you are. And that was the journey of finding humility. And I think the opposite of humility is ego. So I don't have much of an ego these days, but I think I do have a lot of humility. And I think the big change in life for me was trying to diminish my ego to find more humility. And with that, you also remove stress and anxiety and what people think about you. So it's a much better thing for me.
Wow. Congratulations, man. 12 years. I'm almost at year one.
I love it. Yeah.
I appreciate the story. I want to go back to that day last or drug. And can you tell us, what was that day like? What was the straw that broke the camel's back that caused you to finally make the decision to become sober?
Yeah, no, this is a great story, because I stopped cold turkey. And Matt, this is after I had 3 driving under the influences. I'd been to rehab, I've been to jail a few times. So but I thought, Matt, I was a crazy person, and I thought crazy people got permission. Like I'm the crazy guy in the group. Oh, just Justin, he's crazy. But then the week I got sober, I said, on Monday, I'm going on a date on Friday. And Friday's when I got sober. On Monday, I said, I'm going to go on a date on Friday. If this girl on Friday likes me, that's all I want. That's what I want to be happy. I need her to like me because my life was so empty that I couldn't make myself happy. I was womanizing. So I said, okay, I'm going to go on this date. And if this girl likes me, man, I'm going to be happy. So anyhow, on Friday, I went on the date and this girl liked me a lot. And then we drank together and she liked me a lot. On the way home, walking through Manhattan, I was miserable. And I told myself, why am I once again miserable when I thought that I just got what I wanted to be happy? Now I'm miserable again.
Yeah.
So I get home, I turn on a movie. It's called Chris Herron, Unguarded, the Chris Herron story. It's a 30 for 30, ESPN 30 for 30. It's called Unguarded, the Chris Herron story. In this movie, I've started watching it. Chris Herron lost his NBA career to drugs and alcohol. I watched the movie and I was like, this guy's pathetic. And then I looked at myself and I said, well, no, Justin, that's you. That's who you are right now. You're not a young person. You're not a young man anymore. Here you are, drunk again, womanizing, wasting all your money. What he's doing in that movie is you. And you know what I said? I said, tomorrow, I don't want to drink tomorrow. And the important thing there is I didn't say tomorrow I want to get up at 5 a.m., read a book, and do all these other things. I said I want to not drink. I think drinking is Justin, tomorrow, don't drink. So I woke up and I didn't drink. And then the next day I didn't drink. And then the next day I didn't drink. And then that was 12 years ago and I haven't drank since because like some of the things you alluded to, Matt, you started to feel better. I started to wake up more focused. And then you know what happened for me? I I was sober, but my mind was messed up because I started to get angry at myself. Like, Justin, why did you do this to yourself for so many years? Why did you abuse yourself through alcohol and drugs and whatever? So I said, I need to go to therapy. So the best decision I ever made is I went to therapy every Wednesday for a year to help me understand why I made the decisions I made to be an alcoholic and an addict and a womanizer. So through that year of therapy, I was able to kind of forgive myself and understand that through my childhood and other things that I had to have an outlet because my mother had me at 16. My father died when I was 4. I didn't really have any parents. So having the childhood that I had, a lot of my 20s was looking for acceptance and love. And, alcohol made me feel a certain way. So once I understood more of my childhood, I was able to forgive some of what I did to myself. But then I said, you know what? I don't think I ever want to drink again. I think that time has passed and it's not good for me. Here's the deciding factor. One day I took a piece of paper. On the piece of paper, I wrote everything that alcohol took from me. On the other side, I wrote everything I gained from it. Alcohol took relationships. It took a house. It took a job. It severed many relationships. It never gave me anything. So,
wow.
If you know something is going to take from you but never give, at some point, you got to be pretty stupid to keep doing it. So for me, logically, I said, you know what? I'm going to, instead of putting my energy in addiction, I'm going to put my energy over here and let's see what happens. And in the 12 years that I've been sober, I've built, a couple 7-figure businesses. My family, have a big following online. I'm self-taught in so many great things. I went back and got my college education. I'm a speaker, like all these great things. Now, Matt, the important thing there to articulate to people is that nothing changed about me. I just took my energy from one place and I put it in a better place. I didn't get smarter. So the way I want to inspire people, because a lot of people, they listen to something like this and they're just like, maybe they're in the trenches. Well, when I was in the trenches, I just make better choices. I was smart then. I was genuine then. I just did not know how to put it all together.
And it seems like a series of actions has caused you to figure out how to make better decisions. You first You chose to stop the alcohol. You then went to therapy, which kudos to you, my friend, for saying that out loud. I think it's becoming more and more destigmatized with men as
Yeah.
we go on. I've also been to therapy for a number of years and have a number of coaches that still coach me, and never been happier, more at inner peace than having let go of all the things that were stuck inside that were just for me. All right. And I let go of all of them. And that's most of them. And that's helped me to get to a place of inner peace. And it feels like we're running parallel lives in a sort with therapy and with kind of looking at the way we're making decisions. So I love everything you shared so far. I'm curious, as you made that switch, you stopped the alcohol, you went to therapy. What were the next series of steps that happened to get us to where we are here right now today, where you're a proud father? You married a woman. I want to get to how you met your wife, and also running a huge multi-global business. So,
Yep.
walk
Well,
us down the path, please.
this is I know it's my story, but I love my story. And Matt, I think the wonderful thing is, like, people see me get fired up sometimes about my sobriety, and that inspires them. I'm like, there are parts of my life, Matt, that I lived that I was ashamed, but now the life I live, I love talking about it because I'm proud of myself. I'm proud of myself. So, how did I meet my wife? Well, when I was because I didn't feel good about myself, so I needed women to make me feel better. When I did stand-up comedy, I needed audiences to make me feel funny because I was very insecure. So when I got sober, I said, okay, Justin, not only are you not going to drink, you're not going to date either. So when I was in therapy, I told my therapist, I said, I need to not date. I need to really get sober and mentally, not just sober from drinking, but mentally. And so I didn't date for over a year and a half. And something I did that I think was pretty remarkable, that I didn't know that I was doing it at the time, but I talk about people, places, things. If you want to change your life, you got to change the people you're around, the things you're doing, and the places you're going. So what did I do when I got sober? I moved in Manhattan from one place to Upper Manhattan because I needed to be, I didn't want to be around anybody anymore that I knew. I also took my phone and I deleted every contact in my phone. And I said, the people who need to contact me will. I need to start over. So
wow.
So let's say I'm a year and a half sober. I've gone to therapy. And then one day I'm coming out of the subway. I haven't dated. And when I get out of the subway, I see a woman across the street and she's beautiful. And these guys are chasing her. Like, these New York guys are like, hey, baby, hey, baby, hey, baby. So I get out of the subway. I walk across the street. I walk right up to this woman and I said, hey, listen, why don't you just pretend like you know me? These guys are chasing you. Like, just walk with me around the corner. These guys will leave you alone. And just, we'll walk around the corner together. We walked around the corner and then we talked for a little bit. We went, actually had lunch, and she eventually became my wife.
Oh my God.
Crazy,
great
right?
story, man. Oh my God. That's awesome.
So I met her organically on the street, saving her from some guys. And then, but the story doesn't end there. So on the first date there, she had also gone through some traumatic stuff in her life. So she's beautiful. I'm looking at this woman. I'm like, wow, what a beautiful woman. And then she tells me that she has twin daughters that just turned 1, like a week before. Okay.
Wow.
So my heart sunk because I'm like, oh, I don't want to be I'm not going to be a dad. I can't be a dad. And then next thing you know, I started hanging out with her, and I said, okay, because she wanted me to meet the girls. And so finally I met the girls, and within half an hour, I said, I'm going to be their dad. And I worked to adopting the girls who are my daughters. So the girls you see as my daughters, they're my daughters, but I adopted them. And this is when I never thought I could be a dad or a husband. So, and the reason I wanted to adopt them really soon is because they went through their own really bad situation with my wife's ex, who was like a really, kind of a bad person. So I was trying to protect them. And so I adopted them. And, but the story there is I became a dad and I became a husband. I didn't think I could be either one of those things. So the point of sobriety for me is I did not try to limit who I thought I was supposed to be. And I tried to listen to other things and other people because my way got me to where I was. So I tried to be open to where my life could go so that it could be better and not me thinking that I knew what I wanted.
What I'm feeling is that I just heard a man say a core value of his is curiosity.
Oh, yes.
Ballpark, is that? Yeah. Is that
Yeah.
one of my core values?
I don't want to fast forward. I don't want to fast forward, but I do daily data with my kids every day. And every lesson is about what are you curious about today?
Did this curiosity begin much earlier in life, or did it take hold once you got clear? Oh, so it's always kind of been there. You just started to direct it in a way that was healthier for you.
Yeah, I mean, Matt, there were parts of my life I was curious. I was like, okay, I'm curious. Could I do 10 lines of Coke and still live? You know what I mean? So there were parts of my life. so there were parts of my life.
Could you, by the way, could you do 10 lines of Coke and live back in the day?
I should have been. Yeah, I should have been dead many times in my life. So, but I've always been curious. But when I got sober, the curiosity was exactly what you're alluding to. Maybe I don't know what I want. Be curious and be open to the people, places, things that you're going to meet because they could put you on a course in life that you don't know you need to go.
Well, so you meet this amazing woman. I'm looking at your Instagram page, and your wife is gorgeous, obviously, and your family is beautiful. And up in rural Georgia, there was only one black person in the whole town, and you're probably grown up to not like black people or date black people. So how did someone from rural Georgia be so open-minded?
Yeah, well, I was telling my wife the other day. I was telling my wife about how I remembered early in my childhood. I remember the KKK, the Klan would come through. The Klan would come through the town, and I was like, "There's one black guy here. Who are they mad at? There's like one guy here." Like, but that's what the town was about. It's like that had to be a very frustrating Klan meeting. Like, we got to get Eric. You know what I mean? Like, there's one guy. So, my wife had a good laugh at that. But the point is, she's like, well, Justin, how did you? And I said, I traveled. I moved to Boston at 18. Then I moved to California. I lived in Europe for a while. And just like I said earlier, at some point I realized, wait a minute, I can like who I want to like. I can be who I want to be. And so my wife is from Nigeria. She was born in Nigeria. I was born in rural Georgia. And I think we have a beautiful story about how two people from different worlds love each other.
Absolutely. Okay. So continuing on the saga, on the journey, you're in New York, you met your wife, you adopted the children, and what happens next? This is fascinating. This might be one of my favorite episodes ever. Please continue the story.
After we got married?
Oh, yeah. What happened next? What happened on the path to having this empire of social media and all the businesses that you're running now?
Okay, so I meet my wife, and I adopt the girls, and so now my family is, I'm married and I have my two daughters, and we start doing little videos because I wanted to document our lives together. And the videos are like going to the park, petting geese, riding horses, like dumb stuff. And then my daughters are identical twins. We did a video where one of the girls realized that she was a twin. They realized they were identical twins. And the one who was 1 minute younger got upset because she wanted to be older. But then the one who is older was shorter than the other one. So they both kind of got upset at each other in this moment. Well, we did this video. I put it on YouTube, and I put it up on a Friday. On Monday, we were on Good Morning America. It went viral. It went viral. So we were on Good Morning America and the Today Show. And then next thing you know, everyone starts subscribing to our YouTube, which I wasn't even trying to do anything with. We were just fooling around. So we started building a YouTube, and people were wanting more content. So I had a really good day job. My wife had a great day job in New York, and we had no idea that you could make a living off YouTube or social media. But people wanted more. So here's another good thing with sobriety. Now being sober,
Okay.
I wasn't wasting my time in bars or drinking or all that stuff. So what I did at night, every night, I taught myself digital marketing, filmmaking, editing, Photoshop, all these different things. And I went to my job during the day, at night, every single night, the same thing. How can I get better at YouTube? How can I tell stories better? How can I make better thumbnails, etc.? So after a while, I became, a good content creator while still having a day job. But the big lesson there is that how I had, once again, instead of putting my energy in bad places, I put them in good places. Even though I had a day job, I taught myself at night how to be a good content creator. And we started getting brand deals. We started working with, Walmart and Disney and, Target and all these people. And we started making a good living. And at some point, we were making more money from YouTube and brand deals than from our day job. And my wife and I both had very good day jobs. We were both making about, $300,000. Like, we were doing really good. And at some point, we were making better with content than our day job. And at that point, that's when we did it full time. And I think that was 2018.
2018, the build up, the hustle for years and years and years. You get rid of the bars, and now at night you're doing something you're passionate about. And then let's go back to the viral for a second. What was that like to make a video on Friday, and then all of a sudden, when did you get the call? And what was that experience?
That was
getting
crazy.
A call? Is this for real?
So yeah. when we put out the video, next thing you know, we had people pinging us all over social media, and then we were on a train. Actually, interesting enough, we were on a train from Connecticut down to New York, and we were on the train, and somebody pulled up their phone and they said, "Is this you?" And I'm like, "Yeah, that's us." It was the Today Show, and they're talking about you. And I was like, "What is going on?" And so the cool thing is that when you go viral like that, your mind is just like going crazy, because every time you go to your phone and you refresh it, it's just like 10,000 more followers every time you refresh. And it was nuts.
Wow.
So, but the cool thing about it is it was really fun as well. But what was really fun about it is I want to go back to what I said a minute ago, is that I got sober. I went to therapy. I was open to who I met. I didn't think I knew what I wanted, so I got married and I adopted. I developed awesome skills. Next thing you know, a career path that I never knew could happen to me manifested because I didn't pretend to know what I wanted. So that was the amazing thing, is that I never in my life thought I would be doing YouTube or social media, all that stuff. I also never thought I would marry a Nigerian woman. I also never thought I would adopt, little girls. So the point is, my life got better when I stopped telling me what I thought I wanted. Does that make sense?
I can hear the words. I can follow the story. It doesn't make complete sense to me, that last statement. Can you go a little bit deeper into that one, please?
Yeah. So that's the humility. It's arrogant to really say, I know what I want with my life. It's my way or the highway. It's my rules. This is what I'm doing. It's very humble to say, you know what? We're just vibrations in this world, in this universe. There's nothing more than vibrations. And the fact that we think we're more than that is because we internalize and we think of our inner conscious, which is our ego. And the moment we think with our ego, everything gets in the way. If you can just exist as a human being, as a vibration, you will go to where you need to go, just like a butterfly does, or just like the waves in the ocean do. So I'm a big believer that just like the waves wave, the earth peoples. And people get in the way of peopling because we use our egos too much. I decided to use less ego and just kind of be here and do the best I could every day. And let's see where the world takes me. And that, my friend, has been a much better way to live life than me saying, you know what? I'm going to decide what happens in my world. It's way better to say, you know what? I'm going to do the best I can every day, but let's just see where the jazz goes. I call it jazz. That's what jazz is. Just I'm trying to play jazz every day.
And I am so inspired right now. I'm just going to pull off my wall. I keep my core values up here behind my webcam, and I read them every morning. And this is the most important one to me: is more humble, less ego, more love.
I
I
love that.
repeat
Oh,
that every
who
morning,
did that?
and I just wrote it down on an index card about a decade ago, and just look at it every morning, and trying
I
to
love it.
always remove ego and just live in the present and just be loved, right? And I feel that
Love
we're
that.
kind of like in a similar wavelength here. Just so that's cool. I was going to ask you your relationship with ego, but I think you just described it. At what point, and this was the therapy you already mentioned, at what point did you become aware of how big your ego had become and then let go of it? Was it
As soon as I
gradual
went
or
to
was it all
therapy,
at once?
it
Yeah.
was like a month in the therapy. It just dawned on me. It was like, Justin, your way got you in this seat right now, talking about how you don't like your life. Your way, meaning your ego. Your ego was not on a winning streak. Your ego got you right here, right now. And so now, Matt,
Mm-hmm.
12 years later, my ego is way diminished. I'm way happier. So it was that point where I looked at myself in the mirror and I got sober. And then in therapy, I realized that my ego got me to this very place. So it must not be that good.
Mm.
It wasn't
Man, I
serving
love
me
it.
well.
I love it. And I want to pause for our listeners for a second. Just made an incredible point, and this is what I heard from it. I hear that there is an X and a Y axis, and on this graph, there is ego, and the higher the ego is on that graph, the lower the inner peace is. And as you decrease the hold that ego has over you, you increase your capacity for inner peace and being able to genuinely be what I would call joy or happy. That's what I heard or felt from your story. Awesome.
I think you said it better than I did, but that's exactly right.
No, that's exactly it. It's amazing to find someone that they can speak their truth like you, and you can feel it. And at the same time, it's like, man, so many people, they're just trying to sell something, and you can't tell if they're any real or if they're inauthentic or not. But I feel I really just connected with you based on all the stuff you had to go through and overcome, and you just shared your heart, you bared your heart and your soul to our team. So just much respect, my friend.
Yeah. I mean,
I hope
Matt,
our
once
listeners
again,
take this in.
I don't like talking about the successes. I like talking about the trenches because that's what helps people. And I like to be very
Yeah.
honest and open because the only way I'm going to inspire people is to let them know I have been where you are and I didn't become smarter. I didn't inherit a lot of skills. I just decided to make better choices. And one of those better choices was just removing my ego because my ego got me into the trouble that I was in. So get rid of it.
Darn right. Okay, so for someone who's hearing this conversation who's in a tough place right now, and they hear it, they're inspired by you, they want to let go of their ego, they just don't know how, what might be the first step that you could just gently nudge them with or share with them? What do you think?
Well, kind of like what I did is when I got sober and I wanted to change my life, I wrote down on a piece of paper on one side where was I at and where did I want to go? And once something becomes binary, then you can't lie about it. That's truth. I mean, that's empirical. Like you can't lie about that. And so I decided this is who I wanted to be, but this is who I am right now. How am I going to get to where I want to be? And that slowly was me making changes. And one of the changes was being sober. And then I wanted to find more humility in life. And I didn't mention this, but during therapy, I also started mentoring kids. I started volunteering. I started doing things that were the opposite of what I was doing. I was doing things that were very self-fulfilling for me, but then I started being of service to other people. So I think I would tell people, we got to get out of our head and stop thinking about me, because once we're of service to other people, all the great things happen to us. They happened to me once I became of service to other people.
Man, that's so amazing. Well, I know you don't want to focus on the successes, but for those of us who have not been exposed to your YouTube and to everything you've done so far, where can we go to find out more about you and to learn with you and to live life with you through your
Let me what we're doing. We've got 15 million followers, 4 billion views. We do very well. My partner in business is Damon John, who's actually in the other room over there. I wasn't on Shark Tank, but Damon liked me. He met me, and I invented a light. And so we have that coming out. He also brings me into other parts of his business. So I've made a lot of great relationships, but that's one thing that I really. So what I want to say here is that people that are struggling, it is not an easy journey, and you got to be patient. But you'll meet the people you need to meet when you need to meet them. So, for instance, people always say, Justin, are you surprised to have Damon John in your life? I'm like, no, you might be, but I'm not. Because if you keep your head to the ground and you stay positive and you stay on the good track, you will meet the people that you need to meet when you need to meet them. You just got to keep going. And that's been my story, is that at 12 years sober, for a long time, it wasn't great. But I said, you know what? I'm just going to keep going. My life will be better because I'm trying and I care about being a better person. My life will get better. It may not be on my timeline, but it will get better. And it has.
Fantastic. If there's one place we can go to find you, where is the number one place we should go first?
Probably Instagram is where I'm most active. And if you go to Instagram, you can type in Justin McClure and you can find me there.
Fantastic. Is there anything else that you've not shared or anything else you want to share before we move to wrap things up today, Justin?
No, the only thing I want to share is that I like coming on podcasts like this, Matt. I think you do a great job. And I think it's been a great discussion. And I think this is really important because 12 years ago, I watched something that changed my life. So you never know today what people need to hear, read, or see that changes their life. So that's why I think it's important for podcasts like yourself, for people when they listen, this might be the thing that they need to plant the seed to give them what I needed 12 years ago.
Absolutely. Couldn't agree more. Awesome. Justin, we're near the end here, near the lightning round, I call it. I've got a couple last questions for you to wrap things up.
Go for it.
I would ask you, if you are a reader, might there be a book or two that you might recommend that's had an impact on you?
Napoleon Hill, Think and Grow Rich. And
Sure.
a book I just read is called Metabolical by Robert Lustig. It's about longevity and how to live a healthy life, how to optimize yourself and remove all the toxins and bad food, but also understand on a biochemistry level, why we shouldn't be drinking, eating certain things because it makes us more stressed, anxiety. But it's a new book. It's called Metabolical, and it's about how to avoid metabolic disease.
Got it. I've not heard that one yet. Thank you. Have you heard of Peter Attia's book or heard of Dave Osprey's, any of those? You've read all? Okay, good. I've not heard this one, so thank you. I'm going great. I'm going to get it today. Thank you.
Okay, so I've read all those other books, and Metabolical's better. So get that.
Okay, awesome. I love the way you speak with certainty. It makes me want to go read the book now. Thank you. Oh, man. How about music? What music lights up your soul and gives you joy?
This might be a surprise, but I listen to really, really heavy metal.
Like what?
Like the heaviest of heavy. My kids think it's hilarious, and they kind of like it now, but it's kind of like the that's what I listen to.
Okay. All right. We're talking like Black Sabbath and Iron Maiden back in the day is what I'm thinking about. Okay. Question. Now I'll leave the last word to you, Justin.
Okay.
This is the Eternal Optimist podcast. When I say Eternal Optimist, what does that mean to you?
I think it means kind of what we've gone over today is eternally being an optimist, meaning for myself, I'm optimist that the best things are going to happen. They're yet to come because I'm going to keep doing what I'm doing. And I'm optimist, not pessimist, that these things are going to happen to me because I'm going to deserve it. So I think that's really important to eternally be optimists, because if we can be that way and we can think that way, we can realize that who are we not to deserve success? Who are we not? It will happen if we can just be open to and being an optimist about it.